End of Times by Roger G. Trow. Foreword. This work reflects the faith, courage, dedication, and unselfish love of a true man of God. Reverend Roger G. Trow is an ordained pastor of Lord of the Harvest Tabernacle LHT in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. He is also the LHT International Overseer. In both positions, Reverend Trow has manifested reliance on God and admirable stewardship of talents and skills. Moreover, his trustworthy handling of literary acumen has resulted in this book, End of Times. End of Times is an opus of a loyal servant of our Lord Jesus Christ. Countless hours spent in research and literary efforts, and the boldness to express the truth whatever the cost, resulted to an eschatological book that would present fresh insights to traditional end-time views. Read it, enjoy it, learn from it, be edified. Bishop Rudesteban P. Malangza, LHT National and International President. Introduction. The morning headlines scream, "Damascus destroyed." The whole world is stunned into a shocked silence and then unites in universal condemnation of the aggressor, the nation of Israel. Fact or fiction? No, it is neither. It is prophecy, and it will soon come to pass. In this study we shall examine ancient prophecies that have already come to pass, and some which shall shortly do so. In fact, they will be fulfilled during this generation. The world is a confusing place at best, possibly because of its complex systems. Many things are interconnected, so it's hard to get the complete picture. And how does one make sense of the world events which are taking place? Which events are critical? Which are epoch-making? How can we tell what is of prime significance and what is of lesser importance? It seems that the world is passing through changes in every sphere: climate extremes, tectonic movements, environmental pollution, failing economies which are weighed down in debt, resulting in societal upheaval, wars and political turmoil, moral disintegration of societies as well as traditional disasters such as plagues, droughts and famines. It is bewildering because the world seems to be in a state of perpetual crisis, but we know that it was not always so. Often the core values that we grew up to believe in are being challenged, and it's hard to know what to believe in anymore. Maybe we need to ask some fundamental questions. And so, what do we make of the rapid pace of change? And is change necessarily good? How do we decide what is good change? And to what end do we still have the freedom to choose what we will accept? We like to believe that we can discern what is desirable and that we have the freedom to choose our way of life. But is it so? Freedom is an illusion. Like the free-range chickens in the farmer's yard, we go about our daily business believing that we are free. But let the chicken flutter up onto the boundary wall, and then the farmer will quickly move to catch it. The chicken lives at the whim of its owner, and ultimately it exists to provide for the needs of the farmer, as we do. Then who is the farmer in our parable? In this study I shall attempt to suggest some answers to these questions. But for the time being, let us suppose that we are truly free, and that there is no boundary wall to fence us in and limit our perspective. We tend to rely upon historical continuity to give us understanding, but what do we do when there is no precedent for the problems that we are facing? When we are faced with a new problem, we have been taught to analyze its elements, so that we might understand its true nature, and then we proceed to seek a solution. This is the scientific method. But there is a snag to this approach. Any conclusions that we may arrive at presupposes that first of all we were able to obtain all necessary information to form an accurate picture, and secondly, what confidence can we have that we did arrive at the right conclusion? As an example, let's suppose we are observing two cars traveling fast down a road. The second car is very close to the rear end of the first, and the driver is flashing his lights to get the attention of the leading car. Then the chase car pulls alongside the leading car, and swinging in, it strikes the first car at a point just behind the rear wheel. The blow causes the driver of the first car to lose control of the vehicle, and it spins wildly, finally coming to a halt on the soft verge of the road. Now, who in your opinion was responsible for the collision? The second driver, of course. In fact, you would be willing to testify that the driver had deliberately and recklessly caused the accident. And that would be a reasonable assumption, given your perspective and the limited information available to you. Then, as you continue to observe the scene, the occupants of the rear car rush out with drawn guns and place handcuffs on the wrists of the occupants of the first car. Now, given the new information, you realize
Sample complete. Ready to continue?